Boys and girls, gather around because I have a story I want to tell you today. In the Bible, in Joshua chapter 3 and chapter 4, we see God perform a miracle. And that's why I'm on a river today to help you remember this miracle. You see, Joshua took over from Moses, and one of the first things God commanded him to do was to lead the people of Israel across the river Jordan. Well, this was a big task, and Joshua didn't know how to do it. But God said, don't worry about it, I will show you how. So he told Joshua, have the high priest carry the Ark of the Covenant and step into the river Jordan. And do you know what happened when they did that, boys and girls? The river stopped. Imagine that. The river behind me is a little river. What would it take to stop this river? Well, I will tell you what it took in the Bible story. It took God to perform a miracle, and that's just what he did. And all the people of Israel were able to walk across on dry land. And when they got to the other side, God told Joshua, pick someone from each tribe, and there were 12 tribes, and have them get a rock out of the river and place it on the other side where you have just now arrived. And so that's what they did. And the high priest joined them with the Ark of the Covenant. And now the question I have for you that I bet you're asking also is, why did God have them get a rock out of the river? It's a good question, and this is why. Because one day God knew boys and girls would ask their moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas, why are those rocks there? And then that would allow moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas to tell their children how God performed a miracle and how God showed up that day and showed how powerful he was. So boys and girls, this weekend, I want you not only to remember Joshua 3 and chapter 4 and this amazing story on how God arrived and performed a miracle for the people of Israel, but I also want you to take time to remember this Memorial Day weekend, men and women who gave their lives so that we could be free in this wonderful country of ours. And that's why we have Memorial Day weekend, to celebrate their sacrifice. And when I think of sacrifice, Pastor Todd cannot help but think of the ultimate sacrifice. And that's what Jesus did for you and for me. You see, he died for us on the cross. But the best news of all is that he didn't stay dead. God raised him from the dead, and he showed that he has power over the grave. So not only power over a river, but he has power over death. And that's why we have hope, and that's why we celebrate our risen Savior. So boys and girls, this weekend, spend some time in the Bible and have mom, dad, grandpa, grandma read you stories so that you can remember where God was faithful then. And I want you to remember the men and women who sacrificed their lives. And most importantly, I want you to remember what Jesus did for you so that you could be free and that you could have hope that one day, because you placed your faith and trust in him, you could spend eternity with him in heaven. And so moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas, I have a closing challenge for you. Think about the times where God showed up big for you, and maybe create your own stones of remembrance where you live. You could maybe put a simple word on a rock, or you could stack it and just be a rock that you could tell a story to. But the bottom line is, we all have things that we can celebrate where God has shown up in our own lives. And I think it's important that the children, we help them remember how God has been faithful, not only in the past, but how he's been faithful in the present. And one day he will definitely show up and be faithful in the future, and we'll get to spend eternity with him. So until next time, bye-bye.